All right. Welcome, everybody. We haven't done a show in a while, but since recent developments with Lucasfilm, we figured we would do one. We're just waiting for one more partner to come in. If he doesn't come in like 10 minutes, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Um, but yeah, do you see this? Do you see this, Caliph or Carbon?
I don't see anything. What are you trying to
Well,
show?
hold on for a second. Right here. Do you see this on my screen? You see
Oh,
that?
yeah, I see. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get graphics to play over the whole screen using StreamYard. Like if I'm just streaming for myself, it's fine. But if I want to play over the whole screen, I don't quite know how to do that. Or even if you can do it, I'm gonna have to do some research on that. Gonna have to do some research on that. Come on, Demetrius. Come on, man. So what are you working on?
I'm just gonna UV the code. UV the clothing.
You're mumbling. You're mumbling. Remember, we got an audience. Well, we probably don't have an
You
audience.
don't have nobody here. You know that, bro. I'm gonna UV the clothing.
Still, though,
Random,
man.
random
Don't
face.
mumble. Enunciate your words. You say you're UVing the clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I saw, I don't mind the design of the clothing. It just looks a little plain. Like it just needs more character, like like stitches and stuff like that. But I guess you'll do that more with the
Geez, I
texture.
can do that stuff with texture.
Yeah,
Cause I'm gonna try to save my face count on this if I can.
yeah.
Cause I want to give her at least two hairstyles, two outfits, which that's gonna be a lot of polygons to try to keep it in the green or whatever.
Hmm. Come on, Demetrius, man. We said 6 o'clock, dude. And this was his idea. He was one who wanted to do this.
You should know it by now.
Come on, dude. Call this dude. All right, okay. Let's get started, man. All right. So, have you seen the new show, the Acolyte show? Have you watched all three
I've
episodes?
seen all of the three of the episodes. Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and admit that I have not watched this new series. I told everyone that I was done with Star Wars after the last season of The Mandalorian. I refuse to watch it. I refuse to give it any type of viewership. I won't even pirate it. And I've heard this. Not that many people are even pirating this thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm done with Star Wars, but I don't mind bashing it and roasting it as it dies. So overall, what did you think, man? What's your overall impression?
Well, the fight scenes are pretty good. That's all. The only good thing is the fight scene. The story,
Mm,
I don't ever know, bro. There's so many things they could have did, but they went in the wrong direction. Like they're going with this whole like sister thing, force dyad. Like in what is it? I forgot what it was. One of the Disney movies, right? Where where
yeah, the
Ray could see
sequel
Kylo
trilogy.
into the Force or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of happened again, and then the new series.
Hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't went that direction. That's kind of the direction you want to go. Is basically focusing on these two sisters, where one's kind of evil, one's kind of good, and that's kind of the
Yeah,
general
because I
story.
know in the novels, um,
No,
'cause
twins can work. Twins can work, but the way they're doing it is not working out.
I
Because
I know what I'm saying though is in the novels, uh, Han and Leia have twins. It's Jason. Was it Jason Solo and what was his sister's name? What were the twins' names? Han, Han and Leia's twins' names. I think it was yeah, Jason and Jaina. And so there's precedent for this, and the typical thing that one falls to the dark side, and I think Luke has to go and Luke. I think Jaina is the one that ultimately takes him down. And which is kind of I guess was some of the inspiration for the story, or what became the story for Rey and Kylo, which was just a much lamer version of it, in my opinion. Um, so there isn't. It's not like there isn't precedent for this, but instead of just doing that story, which would have been cool, they they make up their own thing. It's just not that. It's not as good. It's just not as good. And then they try to do the whole thing with the immaculate conception type of thing. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I refuse to watch it. But it just seems to me there's still no real originality. They're taking bits and pieces, and they're taking bits and pieces of Star Wars that people like and work, and they're just self-inserting what they want inside the story rather than just giving people what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, right? I think I was talking to Uncle David. You know how much money they would have made if they would have done the Thrawn trilogy books. They would have just done the books and actually have Luke Skywalker instead of putting Ahsoka in that place. They made billions of dollars. Now they're losing billions of dollars because they want to insert all this feminist stuff in it. And again, I'm not totally against feminism, but I am against the whole, trying to feminize a male genre. We don't want it. That's not what we want. That's not what men want. Why keep pushing that on us? You know what I'm saying? So that's my major issue. But please continue on your thoughts for the show.
Like I said, the action's pretty good. They try to do a lot without lightsabers this time, which is pretty cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really just focusing just on lightsabers. They do kind of almost the old kind of kung fu style when they fight, but with the force kind of involved.
Yeah.
Force food. One thing I gotta say too is the aliens. They did a good job on making some new aliens or whatever, like design wise and everything. All the aliens and ships, they all look good. It's just the story. This is the story. The main problem here.
I heard the sets didn't look that good. What did you think about the sets?
Especially Coruscant, they didn't really expand Coruscant. Like they try to.
Wait, hold on.
They don't really show that many environments, right?
Hold on for a second. This is Demetrius. It's ridiculous. Hello.
Yeah, I just got my computer out, man. They got family over here.
All right, you late, man. We're already going live.
I'll be there shortly.
All right, yeah, I'll put you up when you get in. All right. But yeah, please continue about the sets. Yeah, because I heard that with the Coruscant thing, they spent $160 million on this show, but it didn't look that good. Like it looked better in Andor.
It's like you don't really get to see a lot of the outside world, which you would think. I want to see what Coruscant was before, modern day Coruscant. It's had to change over what.
That's the thing. You have to remember this. No, that's not true. Because remember, this only takes place 100 years before the fall of the Republic. This is only 100 years. So I'm not saying it will look totally the same, but considering how advanced the galaxy is, I don't think it will look so different to the point where it would just be so drastic.
At least the Jedi Temple, it's like they didn't try to change a whole lot or either just show you much of the environment at all. That was the thing. They try to keep you indoors as much as possible and reusing the same room.
From what I heard, that there's not much originality when it comes to other locations and stuff like that. And the set seems small. They look like stages.
Yeah.
Now some people are saying, well, maybe they were trying to save some money on some larger fight or battle scenes or special effects heavy scenes for later on episodes.
Yeah, there's definitely no mind-blowing environments. I could definitely say that. It was none that was just amazing. My opinion, this show's definitely better than Boba Fett. I'm sorry, better than Boba Fett. Boba Fett was rough. At least in this show, they're giving us new characters, and they can't just degrade the old characters. Like I'd rather if they're gonna
there's no old characters to degrade.
Just use new characters. I'm like, if they go use new characters, I can sit down and watch it. They just degrade old characters. This makes you irritated. Okay.
Do you think these new characters are even worth investing in?
No.
Yeah, because I was looking at I was kind of looking at the roster, right? And when they got a fat Jedi, which makes no sense. This makes no sense at all. I mean, because if you go look at the original trilogy and you see Luke training with Yoda, man, he was putting it like, all right, you ain't gonna be fat after you train to be a Jedi. It's just not gonna be fat. Unless you're some alien and part of your physiology is a look, somewhat big, and it's not really fat, it's just muscle. You just have a weird.
But yeah, the Jedi aren't as strong in timeline, right? Because they aren't actively fighting Sith. They thought all the Sith were dead, so they're like.
That's BS. You still got to do training. They're still training, and because remember they're peacekeepers, so they still got to go out and keep the peace. They're still not like whole wars, but they got to go probably put down insurgencies and stuff like that. So no, that's BS. That's a bad. I think that's a bad line of reasoning. No, remember they're saying that the training is that it's really intense to become a Jedi. It's not something that just anyone can do, And then even people who become Jedi, most of them don't become masters, or knights, Oh no, most of them don't become masters, So I don't know. Even if this is 100 years before, I mean, look how they were getting down before the end of the Republic. Those people hadn't fight Sith in a long time. So this idea that it's 100 years before they would somehow be more lax in their training, I don't buy that. I just don't buy it. You're not gonna have a fat Jedi. I'm sorry, you're not gonna have one. It's probably not gonna have one. You're probably not gonna have one. Maybe if it was like a really old Jedi who was near the end of his career and he got more into like studying text and research and stuff like that. Maybe, but come on, man, a young fat Jedi. Because I was looking at the roster. I was looking at the roster of the new characters. And I was like, none of these new characters would appeal to men. None of them. Not one.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Look, man, I'm just getting in. Like, everybody is blasting this thing for being hyper feminine.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Like everybody. I haven't heard anybody say anything good. Like, I've watched the 3 episodes and I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on here?
So you've seen all 3. So Carbon just kind of gave us his like overall take. What about you? Like, what's your overall take?
First episode, right? Like, it was just like a hodgepodge of misery. That's the best way I could put it. Right?
Hodgepodge of misery.
Like, the only cool thing is the guy who was in Squid Game, because he actually gives you somewhat of what a Jedi is supposed to be. But
a lot of people say he has even though his native tongue is in English and he had to learn English for this part, he has a certain amount of gravitas that he brings to the role. But again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I saw a clip, and maybe again I would actually have to watch it. But when I saw the clip and he tried to say something in English, it didn't sound right to me, and I was like, I don't know.
and like, it seems.
I heard that. Let me show you this character right here. I'm gonna pull it up on the jumbotron here.
The Jumbotron 3000.
Let me bring up this character real quick. Dang, man. Can I make this larger? I just want to make the image. Let me do this. Open image in new tab. This is annoying. It's ridiculous.
What?
I just want to open the image. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, sorry, people out there. My niece, she wants to be on the podcast too. I'm teaching her to.
What's your niece's name?
Her Avery. I'm teaching her hate. I'm teaching her to hate Star Wars early.
Is that a dude's name?
Metro. It's unisexual.
Oh, let's see. Present. Share screen. Let's see.
And none of the characters, down from I can't remember his name that was in Squid Game, down to Daphne King, and people are real gung ho to see her in something else after, because she hasn't done anything like groundbreaking since Logan.
Y'all see this character right here?
Yeah, Daphne King's character.
I don't know who Daphne King is, but from what I hear, she's a Padawan to.
She be acting smart as that sometimes the masters in the show.
Yeah. They got her basically sunning her master.
I'm like, bro, she's doing a better job than them at some points. I'm like,
yeah, I was like, and this is what the men are talking about. I was like, okay, how are you going to be this Padawan and you're sunning your master?
It's not necessarily like wrong, but it seems kind of stupid.
I heard this series is extremely racist too. Particularly anti-black male racist. For one, the one black male character, they got him as kind of like even though he's a Jedi Knight,
he's a simp.
Yeah, they got him as a simp, and they got him as an idiot. Like his Padawan is more intelligent than him and is more wise than he is.
Dude, finish work. I'm sorry. Finn is worse.
I'm sure Finn is. Don't get me wrong. I agree. I'm sure Finn is worse. I haven't seen the show.
He's better than Finn.
But the other thing that people have pointed out was that because it's about a bunch of lesbian space witches, and one of the lesbian space witches who creates the two twins out of the you just used in the force,
galactic in vitro fertilization.
Yeah, it's black. They have two black twins. And this one guy is like, you know, so the Acolyte is saying that black fathers aren't needed even. There's another way for it being anti-black male racist. It's like black men just can't win in Star Wars.
It's crazy.
The last vestige of awesomeness for black
Mace Windu
was Mace Windu. that was more than 20 years ago now. You know,
and but the craziest thing about this whole thing is this, right? They're thrusting it upon kids, and
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing: kids aren't really they're not into Star Wars as like how we were.
You ain't gonna see one kid make a review on the show, bro.
Yeah, they showed the stats. They were like, they showed the stats. They were like, the majority of Star Wars people who watch and consume the product and consume the movies and shows and buy the products are men over the age of 30. So the kids aren't even into it like that. So they're abandoning their core audience. It just makes no sense. And then, you know, not that long ago, you know, because we did that show called Is Star Wars Dead? And and one of the people who viewed the show, because remember the part was going on about how Star Wars has a male audience, and they were trying to argue me down, talking about it was also for girls. I was like, I'm not saying it's not also for girls. I'm not saying girls can't enjoy it, but the core fan base is male. And I pulled it up. They're like, here's the statistics. Here are the statistics. Silence after that. You know what I'm saying?
And of course they're gonna say, well, the original didn't have a strong female lead. Yes, they did. Carrie Fisher.
Yes, they did.
Great.
Dude, she literally killed Jabba the Hutt like a whole slave owner. You can't tell me it's not empowering.
I'm not disagreeing with y'all. That's what people are saying. Garbage.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Garbage. This is what I'm trying to say. They're saying that the reason why they're forcing all this feminism on us is because the original didn't have strong female leads.
And it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie that Darth Kennedy and Darth Headland and the rest of the feminazis who've taken over Star Wars and ruling it with an iron fist. It's a lie they have to tell to justify this bullshit that they keep shitting out, and they expect us to eat it. They expect us to eat shit, and they expect us to like it. And I think I'm actually kind of proud of men just kind of say, yeah, we don't have to take it. We don't have to watch it. We don't have to consume this product. We can let it die. We enjoyed the first however many years Star Wars has been out since the 70s, so 30, 40 something years has been out.
50.
It has been 50 because it came out in 70. Yeah, damn near 50 years. Yeah, so we've enjoyed. For me, I enjoyed it. To be honest with you, I saw the cracks as soon as I saw Force Awakens. A lot of people say The Last Jedi. I say Force Awakens. Force Awakens was a trash movie. It was a garbage freaking movie, man. That movie was terrible. I tried to tell people at the time. Everyone was so excited that we got new Star Wars content that they couldn't see it. They couldn't see it until The Last Jedi. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, nah, Force Awakens was really the first crack, in my opinion. My stupid camera's like all over the place. Accidentally hit the cord. There we go. Stupid thing. Come on, man. You guys continue. I was like, trying to fix my stupid camera.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is this, like, and now Disney's starting, from what I was listening to today on my around the world, they say Disney's like, oh, okay, well, let's pump the brakes. Yo, you should have pumped the brakes a long time ago.
Yeah,
after all that money you lost.
This series should have never been released. This series should have been as soon as they saw the numbers for Solo, as soon as they saw the numbers for Boba Fett, as soon as they saw the numbers for Ahsoka, as soon as they saw the numbers decline for The Mandalorian after season 3, they should have canceled this. This should have never seen the light of day. You know, because I don't know if this is going to completely destroy Star Wars. I mean, if you look at let's look it up. Yeah, I think the last time I saw it, the audience rating was like 15%. Was it?
No, it's lower than 50%, bro.
It's lower than 15% now? No way it's lower
It
than
was like
50%.
19-20%, bro. I was looking at that thing for like that.
Acolyte, what's it
It's
called?
bad,
Rotten
bro.
Tomatoes?
After that third episode, bro.
Nah, the last time I saw
changed.
it was at 15%, dude. What is it now? Oh, so it went up. It's back up to like 16% now.
But yeah,
But it's-
that's rough.
but
I
it's
ain't
down.
ever seen a show get that low to watch, especially a Star Wars show.
Come on,
Like,
man. It's stupid.
And,
That is
like,
rough.
it's
I don't
leaving
think
such
they
a
can
bad
recover from this.
taste. Like most shows, you hope will just like have a slow start, but they just crash from the beginning.
Yeah, some people were saying to avoid this, instead of releasing it episode by episode, they should have just released all of them, because now that they've released this episode and it had so much bad press before it even came out, it's given enough time for people to bash it into oblivion to where it's just putting a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Where if they would have just released it all, you could just consume it all. And let's say the show gets better after the third episode, then people wouldn't be as bothered by just how trash that third episode was, you know. But yeah, right now it's at 16%. And then even like if you look at the critic score, you got to remember Disney, they pay off a lot of critics, man. So everyone tries to say people were review bombing it. Well, I think a lot of people were like are review pumping it too. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the critics, because they have to say something nice about it, because they got, you know, they were able to see like the first, you know, first showing of it, whatever. They got first dibs on it, you know.
Yeah, they'll kick you off their or the list or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You say
So
something bad about it.
yeah. So I have a feeling the critic score would be even lower because I think all critics is 84%, top critics is 72%. So the top critiques have actually gone down. Well, there's no way this is an 84% show. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen it, but I know what my tastes are.
It's not.
And I've seen some clips, like that one clip, The Power of Many. It's like, what?
Yeah, that was bad.
And usually,
No, see, here's the thing. I saw a clip from like I think it was the first episode, and the main character, May, or whatever the hell her name is, she like goes up to Carrie Ann Moss's character, and she's like,
She's got the swan stance. Yeah,
attack me with all the. I was like, who's writing this? Who's writing this stuff? You know, and you know who's writing it? Darth Headland. She's writing it. I think her and like two other people are writing it. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Get these people out of Star Wars. Why are they who is she? Why does she get this opportunity? I'm not saying like look, if she had like a track record of writing for these types of shows and people loving her work for the type of audience that Star Wars has, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But when I looked up like her most famous, it was like Russian dolls. It's like what is like who said that she would be good for Star Wars? And she admitted that some of the writers that she hired had never even seen Star Wars. They'd never even seen it. And I'm not saying that you have to be like this hardcore Star Wars fan
because we're the guy that made
to write good Star
Andor,
Wars. I'm not saying that. Yeah, go ahead, Carver.
The guy that made Andor, he never liked Star Wars.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to be like this person who's just in love with it, but you should have at least seen it, you know, to understand. Well, okay, what is it about this property or this IP that draws so much attention? You know what I'm saying? So like Harrison Ford doesn't like his role as Han Solo. You know what I'm saying? But he still does a good job as Han Solo. So I'm not saying that she just has to be like this fan, but you at least try to understand what makes it appealing to your core audience. They decide to ignore the core audience. It just makes no sense. You know what? Here's what I think what they were thinking. They were thinking, okay, the audience for this is aging. We want a new audience. So we're going to do the new, for the lack of a better term, woke ideology and put that in here to attract a new audience. And it didn't work. It just flopped. It just totally flopped. But please, guys, continue on.
I was reading today that the lady said what's her name? Headley. And she's working closely with Dave Filoni. And I'm like, there's no way in hell. Like,
no, I can believe that because Dave Filoni's a chump, man. We gotta be honest. Dave Filoni's a chump. And look, let's be honest about this. If you look at the early seasons of Clone Wars, if you look at the that first Clone Wars movie, which was the pilot, they just released it in theaters. It's horrible. Dave Filoni got better over time, probably because they were hiring good writers. You know what I'm saying? We're saying, hey, yeah, you might want to do this and not do that. But the guy's a chump. He's a pushover. He's a male feminist. And I blame him just as much for this, because right now I think he's like the creative director at Lucasfilm. He's the one who put in Leslye Headland's ears to do the whole thing with the witches and stuff like that. So he needs to go too. I mean, look, let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Look at Ahsoka.
That was his baby.
That show was horrible. It's a horrible show. Bad writing, bad acting, bad action. You see old 40-year-old, what's her name, who plays Ahsoka?
Rosario Dawson.
And she's like, get a stunt double. What is it? This is what I mean. Is like, look, I'm not trying to be misogynistic or patriarchal or anything like that. But if you're trying to appeal to a largely male audience, you need male energy. You can't be all lethargic with the light. You can't. I mean, people are going to point it out like, nah, that ain't working for me. It's not working for me, man. That's why I was like, I'm done. It's like, it's not. They're not making it. They're not making it for me anymore. They're not making it for. I have more fun bashing Star Wars down than watching it. You know.
And it's yeah. Mm. And y'all know I'm the most outspoken one in the crew, and I sat there and I'm like, okay, oh, God, damn, what the hell is this? Why would you do this to me? Why would you waste an hour or 30 minutes of my life? Right? Like,
because it's not for us no more. It's not, and they admit it because when we complain about it, they're like, well, don't watch it. So they're basically telling us it's not for us anymore. Star Wars isn't for the people who grew up with it and like it and honor it and bought the merchandise and stuff like that. It's not for us anymore. So you know, I figured that out after Mandalorian season 3. I was like, I'm done. I'm done, man. I didn't even finish the season. I was like, what's the point? It all leads to green titty milk anyway. We all know what it leads to. It leads to green titty milk. So what's the point? What's the point? There's nothing they can do to make up for that. You know, I stuck in there. I was like, maybe it'll get better or whatever. And it to some extent, it kind of like the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. All right, they weren't perfect, but they played the right tune for the audience, especially bringing back Luke. You know what I'm saying? And maybe
that was their last, to me, that was their last attempt at a good hurrah, bringing back Luke.
Yeah,
and it drew us all in, because I remember that episode after we watched that, we were all in on that one.
Yeah,
but beyond that, what have they done? Really, what have they done? Nothing. They're almost as bad as Marvel.
Yeah.
And
it's actually worse than Marvel in many ways.
It actually is worse than Marvel.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, what franchise? Okay, The Boys is pretty good.
Hey, but we can't see your camera. I don't know if your camera's pointed upwards.
Oh no, I should have my drawing going right now. Y'all don't see it?
You said a what?
I have my I'm drawing right now.
No, we can't see you. I just see your face.
You don't see my camera?
I see your camera, but I don't see your drawing.
What is going on here?
Fruit fly in here that's been pestering me all day.
See, I'm gonna stop the camera and start it over again. What do you see now?
We just see you. Yeah, we just see your camera.
Let's see. Display capture. Nope.
Some people are saying too that her writing is so bad and the direction and stuff is so bad that she doesn't know how to create mystery. And if you just kind of look at what transpired in that last episode, you can kind of piece together what was happening. She's basically trying to say that the Jedi
are bad.
Whether they were defending themselves or whether they just downright did an evil act, they're the ones responsible for those witches dying, and that will be revealed later on. So and that's why they feel so guilty about it, like they covered it up. And it's just like I don't think they understand. Again, I don't think they understand what the core audience is into. You know, Star Wars has always been pretty classic good versus evil. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even when George Lucas was showing how the Jedi fell, it was more of like a tragedy story because of they got arrogant, they got not arrogant like, you know, they thought they were better than everybody else, but arrogant like, okay, yeah, we defeated the Sith, we no longer have to worry about that anymore. We can, you know, we can focus on bettering whatever, and not realizing that, you know,
the enemy was in the background, was getting stronger.
Exactly, yeah. but you know, people have taken that and say, oh yeah, see, that's because the Jedi are really evil. And it's like, no, the Jedi aren't evil.
It's called hubris.
They can be misguided. You know what I'm saying? They're not perfect. They're not gods. They can't solve every problem in the galaxy. And I explained to this one guy, I was like, look, the Jedi defeated the Sith, and they had a good 1,000-year run. I'm like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. A 1,000-year run, that's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Before they were toppled. That's pretty good. And they brought a certain amount of peace and order to the galaxy. Of course, nothing's perfect, but that's always been George Lucas's story, is that, you know, democracy is necessary, right? But it's not perfect, and you have to be careful because people could use the levers of democracy and create a tyranny. You know, that's always been his story. It's not that everyone who's a part of democracy is like these horrible, evil people, you know, especially not the Jedi, you know. But what the new people in Lucasfilm are doing, they're basically trying to liken the Jedi to the Catholic Church. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say the Jedi are this is they are in stand-in for the Catholic Church. When really, if you look at the Jedi, they're more like Buddhists. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Again, I don't think they understand that what the core audience wants.
Well,
you know, the core audience don't want to see the Jedi as like evil. It's not how. That's
the
not how
Jedi-
we. You know. Go ahead.
Well, think about it. Let's start from the beginning, right? Let's go. Well, the beginning and end. Luke, like I remember when we were having a conversation about Luke, and you were saying, well, yeah, you saw that was the logical point to how Luke's life was supposed to end. You know, he's an old man now. What the hell am I supposed to do? You saw what was it? The Last Jedi was the movie he was in. Like
I know they look.
But no, let me make my point.
We gotta be honest. They desecrated his character. Like I don't mind showing an aged Luke, but they desecrated his character in the Last Jedi. We gotta be honest about that. Like everyone gets old, so I get the whole. You know, he's not the same person. He wouldn't be the same person as an old man. He had. I would imagine he would have the same values. You know, for the most part,
he didn't even have the same values.
Yeah, that's what people didn't like. It was like this doesn't seem like Luke. To me, it was like I could see him having the same values. He's just older and wiser about things.
Well,
they just made him
you would expect him because he didn't have any. He had fighting to do, but Obi-Wan, he was the same. Like Sir Allen Guinness and Ian I can't remember his last name, but the guy who played him in the prequels. You know, they had pretty much the same attitude. Like, okay, I have to stay optimistic and I have to train this boy one day. Like, it's like Luke just gave up. And like, come on, man.
Yeah, they could have wrote it better, man. I had this one idea where, you know, because one of the reasons why it didn't work is because they didn't give Luke enough motivation to make the decision that they say he made, right? You know, he fails with Kylo. And then because of that, he just kind of goes away. That doesn't seem like Luke. Now, my idea would have been better. Like, if it was like, okay, not only did Kylo destroy his new Jedi temple and killed some of his trainees, and also took some with him, but if Kylo would have killed Luke's wife and Luke's kid, okay, now that makes more sense. It's more drama. It's more tragedy involved because. You could part of the story could be like, all right, look, he knows he has to go after his nephew, But he knows if he goes after his nephew by himself, that might actually push him to the dark side because it'd be more of like a vengeance type of thing, right?
That makes
that
sense.
makes more
It
sense.
makes sense than him
Yeah.
shutting away.
And
Because
then
that kind of gives
my idea would be okay. He doesn't go away just because of that. He goes away because he's like, okay, maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. Maybe instead of me trying to create a new school, let me go into exile. Let me set up a new Republican Guard or whatever. I'll go into exile, and I'm going to let the Force bring the new Jedi Order to me. So you get a Force-sensitive Poe, a Force-sensitive Finn. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, find their way to Luke. Like the Force guides them to him, and like at first he kind of like rejects them. You know what I'm saying? Just to see what they would do, dude. Like, remember I was telling you this story, Carvin? Like, it would have been so dope. But you know, the people at Lucasfilm, they don't have a create a bone in their freaking bodies. Not one. What they do is they'll take established lore, say it's not canon. They're gonna take little bits and pieces that they like, and then they do a self-insert. And then say, you need to like it because this was done before. You know, like, well, we had an immaculate birth before, so now we have another man. You should like it. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
It does. It takes the specialness out of it. It takes the ooh and wonder. And us as men in our 40s, except for Carbon, you know, the reason why we gravitate to properties like this, because we're trying to capture some bit of that wonder we had as kids. And I understand that we're up there and we shouldn't have so ooh and ah, but we want to be oohed and ah. But when we're just straight up disappointed, I'm like, come on, man. What were you thinking?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I felt that way when I saw Force Awakens. I was like, what is this shit?
A rehash of what it. You don't want to see rehashes.
And you know what? Someone was on Twitter and we were talking about this. You know what someone told me? Because what I always wondered about Force Awakens was the friendship between Poe, Finn, and Rey never seemed genuine. It always seemed forced. And I read that Poe's character was supposed to die in a plane crash. He wasn't even supposed to be a major character. I don't think Finn was originally supposed to have I don't think he was written as a black character. He was written as a white character or something like that. And I don't think he was supposed to have that much of a major role either. Or something like that. But when he told me that, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense because I just never believed that they were friends. I mean, even Mark Hamill spoke on that. He was like, they haven't even known each other for like 40 minutes before they hugging each other.
They would have been enemies if you really think about it.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense, man. It made no sense whatsoever. And that's the caliber of writing we're getting. It's like they inherited a $1 billion franchise and no one sat down and really thought out a good plan and a good, synopsis for the story. I don't know. Maybe they think we'll just let it happen naturally or something. I was like, nah, you can't do that. Not with a $1 billion franchise, man. You gotta know what you're doing, man. You gotta bring in the best talent. You gotta know what your audience is. You gotta know what your core audience wants. I've seen fan fiction better than some of the stuff that we've been given from Lucasfilm. It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Anyway, is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about this? Any clips you want me to show or anything like that?
I think it's the clip how she just immediately turns on her sister when her sister decides to join the Jedi. She just decides to try her and be like, "You're not leaving because I'm gonna kill you." I'm like, what? Like they established at the beginning that she really loves her sister, but to get her to stay, she's not gonna just kill her to make her stay. I'm like, what? That's where the whole fire thing happens. Where the fire happens, and the way they make it look is that they make you think that she killed her, like the little girl killed all the witches by burning down the place. And it's like it's a stone building. So that's not true.
Yeah,
they set it up.
Yeah, I've heard all that. I heard there's a lot of contradictory stuff in the writing. Like it'd be like one scene where the mother says that you're not old enough to know what you want. And then another scene when she's talking to the other mother, she's like, they're old enough to know what they want. It's like, wait, you just said it. I heard there's a lot of scenes like that. Yeah.
There's one main thing that makes sense, right? Like, why would O'Shea even like the Jedi at all? Because it's like, from the witch's point of view, right? they would have no reason to train her or teach her the Jedi are good. They would teach her that the Jedi are probably evil, right? Because they're witches.
Yeah.
Because David said in the beginning, their public sees them as a kind of some dark magic users, right? That's why they have to live in some off-planet world that isn't even considered by the Republic, right? The Republic doesn't consider them a world.
Yeah,
so they're like,
see,
yo,
I see
you're
what
not
you're
supposed to
saying
come here. We're not in the Republic's territory. Why are you here? Why are you here to take our children?
No, I
That's
see
what
what you're saying from like a cultural standpoint. She would be indoctrinated to the point where she probably wouldn't think that the Jedi were good. But see, that's what you call bad writing, because like, let's say if they lived on a world where, you know, there was other cultures and they were just one of the cultures, and then of them going through like towns, and not towns, but like markets and stuff like that, they hear tales of the Jedi, or someone tells them, and one of them thinks it's stupid and evil because and then one of them thinks that the tales are cool. Then it would make more sense that one of them would think, you know what I'm saying?
That's kind of
But they don't, but because they don't know how to freaking write, you know, yeah.
No, but originally we had some other world. It says like, I remember the queen or whatever was saying they had to move for some reason. I don't remember every detail, but I remember they had to move for some reason. They got in some kind of war or something like that. That's why they had to live on that planet. And the Republic doesn't see them necessarily as good. At least the Jedi see them kind of as almost like dark.
Yeah, but
users,
why?
the way
Like,
they
why?
use their magic.
Like, it makes no sense because the Republic has trillions of beings within its jurisdiction, all different types of peoples, all different types of languages and cultures and stuff like that. Why would they not think that, now, to be fair, maybe this is something later on that they reveal. Maybe they're more dark side users, because I guess creating life out of the midichlorians is kind of like a dark side. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So maybe it was a Jedi that kind of ousted them. But we also, what they were trying to do, they're supposed to be a stand-in for lesbians. And like, again, they don't think they understand what the target audience here is. I don't think they get what the target audience is here is. You know what I'm saying? We don't care.
Mind control abilities, bro.
Huh?
Like, so when the Jedi get there, they get all mad. And then one of them, like that one guy you see with the scar that turns old, like when he was young, they like just like hypnotizing with him. His eyes roll back and his eyes turn black, and he almost start choking. He gets mind control or something like that. So they definitely have some force powers that can be used for evil. We know that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what happened. Maybe some of the witches were trying to like manipulate them, and the Jedi saw it as as an attack, and they attacked back, and then the Jedi had to kill him.
The Dabrak one did want to fight. That's what she's like. She was saying something like that, but she wanted to fight him back after what she calls them to become a Jedi. She's like, we have to strike now or something like that. She's like, no, we cannot do that. It's not the way.
Y'all want to know my primary beef with all these major franchises: Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Transformers, the whole thing. They have the blueprint right there in front of their fucking faces. Literally decades of all you got to do is slightly improve on what came before you, and they still mess it up. I have never seen somebody fail an open book test so handily. Am I wrong, fellas? Am I wrong with my confusion about this?
They had a pretty good guide.
I think there's
legends.
I think there's a balance, right? And this is why I think part of the reasons why they try to go in another direction to pick up a younger audience is because when you get our age and you've seen so much, okay, you can't give me the same old Transformers. You got to bring a little something new to the table.
I'm not. That's what I'm saying.
Bring my interest into it.
All right. Well,
hold on. Let me just finish this point. And I think there's a balance, and it's a hard balance, because like you said, Star Wars has been around for almost 50 years now, right?
So 50 years.
Huh?
Well, in 76 will be 50 years.
Okay.
In 2026.
So almost 50 years, right?
So
you have 50 years of content. You can't redo what you've done before. That's why Force Awakens sucked, right? And if you add anything new to the table, you have the risk of alienating people or it not living up to what came before. So I can kind of see why they went the route they went, but I'm like, man, having more of an average movie or show or series would have been better than what we got here. Even if you didn't really, But my thing is, man, like, just bring some creative people in.
Brian, I disagree with you wholeheartedly on that one, right? And here's the reason why. One of our favorite series in the world,
Dude,
Game of Thrones.
We can't see your face, man.
Don't worry about it. because this thing's acting up and I'm not trying to fix it right now. All right. One of our favorite series in the world, Game of Thrones, was great until they deviated from the books.
That's not what that's not what I'm talking about. Because Game of Thrones was new. When it came out, what, 2011, 2012, something like that?
But the books have been out for 30 years.
But the show was new for general audiences. It was new.
But the material was there.
I know the material was there. What I'm saying is for general like television watchers, it was new. It wasn't something like, that had been around for 50 years, and then we had 50 years of content. You see what I'm saying?
Here's what I'm saying about that. Star Wars the last Star Wars movies before the prequels. I'm sorry, last movie from Star Wars. What did the Revenge of the Sith come out?
Stupid fruit fly. I've been trying to kill that fruit fly. Revenge of the Sith came out what, 04, 05? Let's see.
04, 05. So 20 years. And George Lucas we already knew the treatment of Star Wars, right? We already knew what was supposed to happen. Anakin was supposed to fall to the dark side.
2005. Yeah.
Okay. Anakin was supposed to fall to the dark side.
Well,
but they had Brian.
But if you look at, I know, but here I think you're missing my point.
Okay.
If you look at the prequel series, it did bring something new to the table. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
You never saw Coruscant. You didn't get to see the caliber of lightsaber battles that we saw in the prequels. Because the old lightsaber battles were nowhere near. Because you got to see it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It did bring something new to the table. And what I'm saying is, after this content has been out for so long, it's a little harder to bring something new and keep people engaged. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it can't be done, and Disney has certainly failed at doing it. But what I'm saying is, I can understand why they went the route they went. I just think they went about it the wrong way. They went about it the wrong way because they didn't understand what their core audience is. The core audiences are males, and they're older males. So they should have brought people in who could write better for that audience. And I'm sorry, Darth Headland just isn't one of them. I mean, if you go listen to some of her interviews and some of the things, some of her interviews and some of the things she said, right? The first thing she says, one of the things she says that was like, okay, this is problematic, is that she's Sith. And like when I heard it, I was like, well, what is she talking about? She's Sith. And what she means is she identifies more with the Sith.
Okay,
you know
that's good.
Wait,
hold on. Let me put this in, and I'm gonna let you continue.
Yeah.
All right, identifying with the Sith. Okay, cool. Let's be honest with you. Most times the bad guy is cooler than the good guy.
That's not. I think it's.
But that's not. But it's not what I know. I'm with you with that. That's not what she meant. That's not what she meant. All right, continue.
Yeah, here's what I think she means. And someone else has pointed this out. Who was it? I can't remember who it is. I want to give him credit. Let me look it up real quick. The Acolyte Occult. Echo Base Network. I got to give them credit. They did a video called "The Acolyte Busted." Here, matter of fact, let me share it so that the whoever's watching or will watch can see the video and go check it out, because I think this is important. This is the video right here. God dang bugs, man. Stupid fruit fly, dude. Hold on, let me share it. Here. This one right here says "All Hail Satan, Busted Occult," but the name of the video is called "The Acolyte Busted with Deep Occult Inspiration, Leslye Headland, Star Wars." And when I watched the video, they were showing, some of the references to the Church of Satan and occult symbolism and stuff like that. And I don't know if Leslye Headland, or Darth Headland, that's what I call her, is involved with that kind of stuff. I'm not saying I'm against. Look, it's a free country. You have whatever religion you want to, or whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that what I've noticed is people who are different, that's what I'll say, they attach themselves to that which is contrarian. So if the established culture is against different people, right? If they have a history of being against different people, then they automatically go to the thing that's opposite of what that is, right? Whether they're really into that stuff or not. And I think that's what she means. Oh, I'm Sith. I identify, I identify more with the satanic adversarial. I'm being adversarial to the corrupt Catholic Church, which is this, which the Jedi is standing for, right? And it's like she's trying to be all like artsy fartsy nuanced. So she's really, and I'm saying we don't want that. That's not what we want. It's not. I don't care if you identify as Sith. If you want to identify with evil, that's on you. But look what your core audience wants: the hero's journey. Whether a female is going through the hero's journey or whether a male is going through the hero's journey. But this idea that the Jedi are bad and evil and the real corrupt ones and the real good ones are dark side, I don't buy that. I don't buy it. Because what you're really saying is I'm for the side who deliberately kills younglings. The Jedi might be misguided, but they don't deliberately kill younglings. They just don't do it. I guess one could argue that Anakin was a Jedi who killed younglings, but I would argue that he had already been going to the dark side at that point. He was, if anything, he was more like a gray Jedi. Yeah, I think that's what she means by she's Sith. I think adding all this other stuff in, and I'm just like, and I'm not saying, look, there might be some other occult references in Star Wars. I don't know. George Lucas pulled from a lot of different references to craft this universe. I don't know, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. To be inspired by things and you put that in your stories or whatever. What I am saying is that she has a particular ideology and a particular agenda. And it's okay for her to have that particular idea and agenda. Again, it's a free country. My thing is that going to sell? Is that going to sell to the core audience, which has been proven it's largely males that are over 30? You know what I'm saying? And I say no. I mean, look, you see the results. You see the freaking results. But please, I've said enough.
At the end of the day, fellas, let's ask ourselves a question. Is there a way they could save Star Wars right now?
No, Star Wars is dead. It's dead. Put a fork in it.
It's up to the games, really, in my opinion.
Nah, because even the gaming industry is having issues, dude.
Well, they're talking about the next Star Wars game, the Outlaws, and they're saying it's more of the same.
Yeah.
So
I'm not talking about Outlaws. I'm talking about some of the more future games. Like, there's one game that's in development that's going to be made by, I think the studio that made Warhammer or something like that. One of those two. It's going to be an RTS game. Like, games like that are, like, being different compared to, like, regular shooters. I feel like those games stand a chance.
It's like, and I'm not trying to make fun of her looks, right? But once you know a little about who she is or whatever, you look at it like, right, who thought she would have been the right to direct a Star Wars show? Like what? Like I'm trying to like go through the mental logic of who thought this would have been a good idea. And look, here's the thing. Because a lot of people say, well, you're bashing the women who have power at Lucasfilm now. And I am bashing them. Because I think what's happening in our culture is women will get power when things don't work out. When you criticize them for it, when you can't criticize them, you're misogynist, you shouldn't say that because they're women. Well, which one is it? With power comes responsibility. When you lead, the buck stops with you. And the buck stops with Kathleen Kennedy. The buck starts with what's his name? The guy you just mentioned, Dave Filoni, even though he's not a woman. But he is a creative director now at Star Wars, right? The buck stops with Leslye Headland. She's the director. She's the showrunner of the show. You have to know what your audience wants. So you can't get mad if you put out crap and then people say, well, it's crap, I don't want it. Or you're misogynist or you hate women. No, I don't hate women. I hate your product. Your product sucks. Your product sucks. You're not right. You're not right for the role. You're not right for the role. Like it baffles me that Kathleen Kennedy still has a job. How does that work? I mean, there's your racism. There's your sexism. Let's be honest. Let's be honest for a second. If this was a black man who's in charge of Lucasfilm and he lost Lucasfilm billions of dollars, not 1 billion, not 2 billion, billions of dollars over bad decision after bad decision, do you think he would still have a job?
The answer would be no.
No. He wouldn't have a job. So miss me with this crap, man. Miss me with it. And all the things. Look, there's a lot of white men who are criticizing this too, and they're saying that they're racist and misogynist. Look, I don't know. I don't know these men. Some of them may be racist. I don't know. I have a feeling they're not, though, because if you look at what is the number one movie right now in America?
Bad Boys, I think.
Bad Boy. What they know what the core audience wants, whether they be white or black.
And when you think about it, right, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are not in their prime.
They're not in their prime,
and they just want to see some macho shit.
Yeah.
And
for a while there, wasn't Barbie the number one movie in the country
last
when it
year?
first
But
came out? No, that's my point though. But my point, it was for a particular type of audience, and that audience came and showed out for that particular type of movie. I didn't go see it. It's not my interest. I didn't want to go see it. You know what I'm saying? Now I know a lot of guys who did go see it, went to go see with their girlfriends and their wives and stuff like that. But I had no interest in seeing it. It's not my interest.
Man,
but I wasn't shitting on it. I was like, all right, it's for a particular audience. They seem to love it. It got $1 billion whatever views or whatever, made $1 billion or whatever. Good for them. Good for them. You don't see men over there saying, "Where's the masculine?" They didn't get Michael Bay to go direct the Barbie movie.
Oh, jeez.
Or what's his name? What's that director? I can't stand him. His movies are so terrible. Zack Snyder. They didn't get Zack Snyder to go direct the Barbie movie. They didn't get Quentin Tarantino to go direct the Barbie movie. Why is it a bad thing to say, hey, look, I think, they need to get I don't even got to be a man. It's the right type of person to direct these movies that appeals to a certain audience.
And I am glad you said that, man. I am so happy you said that. And the reason why is this: there are good female action directors.
There are.
But you got to know your core audience.
You got to know what your audience is. You got to know what they want. You got to know what they like. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because I was looking it up and they were like, even the Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars stuff that was released, even though it had a female, most of it has female leads, it's still mostly men who consume the content. So they don't really care if it's a female lead. They care is this something that I can relate to? Is this something that I would like? Because you go back to, when we were kids, we had plenty of female heroines in movies that we loved.
Red Sonja. And
I was looking at that Red Sonja. I was Ripley from Alien. Sarah Connor, even though she wasn't like the lead character or whatever. You know who one of my favorites is? Charlie Baltimore.
Yep.
If for the younger audience, y'all don't know who Charlie Baltimore is.
Not Gina Davis.
Yeah, Gina Davis, not the freaking rapper.
Got my gun in his pocket.
Charlie Baltimore movie. What's it called? Long Kiss Goodnight.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just put in the Long Kiss Goodnight because they got stupid rapper. Yeah, there we go. Gina Davis acted her ass off in this movie. She did such a good job. Lead female character. She plays a badass, one of the most badass female characters I ever seen in cinema. Movie's freaking awesome. Now she did lead in one movie. It was about
Cutthroat Island.
That shit was horrible.
Cutthroat Island.
I tried watching that because I had never seen it, and I can understand why it never got big. That shit was terrible. They said that movie lost a lot of money too, but it was just poorly directed. It just wasn't that good. But have you ever seen this, Carbon? You're young. You're a young guy. Have you ever seen it?
I have not seen it.
Great freaking movie, man. One of the best action movies I think of that era. Gina Davis acted her ass off. This is her where she gets her memory back and she she gets that more kind of like wild look to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie, man. So this idea, like all the lies that like Darth Headland and Darth Kennedy be saying about, Star Wars is patriarchy. Get the hell out of here. Stop it. American men are some of the most accepting men when it comes to female leadership in the world. I'm not saying that there aren't people who aren't better than us, but we're definitely at the top. You know what I'm saying?
You want to know?
Go ahead.
You want to know something? People, they act like this whole thing acts like Leia was not a person.
Yeah, I know that
wasn't the one that Leia wasn't there.
She was the leader of the rebellion.
No, she wasn't. Mom Martha was. What are you talking about?
Mom Martha was, but we didn't know
still a woman.
She shows up in the movie. She shows in the movie.
I saw her more as
she was in Andor.
I saw her more as she was the behind the scenes.
But she still exactly wasn't
Leia was
Leia was
the hope of it.
Leia was up there personal. Leia was getting down. Mom Martha was sitting behind a desk.
Yeah.
But you saw what she did in Andor though. Without her, the rebellion, everybody just.
That's what we're saying. She was more the behind the scenes person.
She
provided the funds and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
she was kind of like doing the codes. She could pretend like she was for the Empire, but at the same time, she was kind of like helping out the. Yeah. So, but again, she's still a woman. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Look, even in Andor, they had the whole lesbian thing. Nobody cared because it was so good. Or like some people were saying, like, "Oh, you guys just don't like the fact that it was a cult of witches of all females."
That's not true. The Dathomirian witches, no.
They were badass.
Dathomirian witches, they're pretty cool. Don't be coming for them.
Yeah, they were cool, but look, Dune. Most people loved the Dune movies that came out, and it had literally a cult of really powerful witches that were more powerful than the Emperor. No, everyone accepted. Everyone loved it. Like what? So like this idea that we just don't. No, we just hate. What we hate is bullshit. Not getting the right people for the part. Because now all that stuff, all of what they consider the woke stuff, now all that stuff really sticks out. You didn't blend it in to where look. I could care less about whether she's a lesbian or whatnot, but she's a really good character and just really worked for the story. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's dead, guys. It's over. It's dead, man. I mean, I see no real way. Like the only way I can see them turning this around, they'd have to completely leave the Luke Skywalker era, and to be fair to that, Acolyte sort of does that. And they have to fire all the feminists. I hate to say that, you got to fire them. You got to fire them. They don't know what they're doing. You got to fire all the feminists and start at Lucasfilm. Fire every last single one of them. Start from the ground up and do movies based on the old Republic. That's the only way I can see them saving Star Wars. Don't change a whole bunch of the lore. You know what I'm saying? It's the only way I can see it. Them saving Star Wars. If they don't do that, it's over. It's over. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I just don't. I could be wrong. Maybe the research. I don't know. Look, maybe the next few episodes of the Acolyte will get much better, and it will overshadow the utter lameness and mediocrity of the third episode. And people will be like, you got to eat your words because it got better. That's a possibility. I think it's improbable. I don't think that's going to happen. But, I could be wrong. I will admit that I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just getting too old for this franchise. Maybe it's just not. Again, I admit it's not for me anymore. It's just not for me. But Carbon, you're a Zoomer. You're a Zillennial. You're a Gen Z. What's the attitude among your generation, your peers? What are they? I mean, are they even really into Star Wars like that?
Like what I said, we like the games. We will just mod the games and make the games we want to
goddamn video games. I swear. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, that's what our generation does. We play game versions of. We don't. The movies and TV shows like, yo, let's try it. We'll just make our own story with the game.
Yeah.
Like that's what we'll do. We'll just make our own fandom, whatever, and make that the new Star Wars. That's what we have done, basically.
Yeah.
That's really it. We just moved more or less to games, or you just make our own fan films or whatever. It was like, you will make Star Wars for us, so make it ourselves.
What are some of your friends saying about the Acolyte, if anything at all?
Well, they ain't liking the way they changed the Force with the threads or whatever.
See, when people were talking about that, I was like, you know what? I don't really have that much of an issue because if you're gonna have different cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah, they should have different interpretations of.
Yeah, if some of them are Force sensitive, they're gonna have a different, way of looking at it and talking about it and have different language for it. I didn't really mind that so much,
And there's another thing I just thought about, right? Because I follow these Star Wars lore videos on YouTube, and there are many Force sections. We only know the Sith and the Jedi were the biggest ones. There are many subgroups out there that practice the Force, and like the third one we know about most of all is the Dathomirian witches. But they said, like, from what I was watching, the Jedi did have kind of a beef with all the other most of the other Force sects out there. If they were trying to make the Jedi out to be zealots, they should have made them out to be zealots. But don't sit there and just throw this bullshit, and it's exactly that bullshit.
I think one of the problems is the somewhat heavy-handed way they were handling the whole. Well, we want to see the children and all that. From what maybe I'm wrong. From what I read, the way that the Jedi picked basically new recruits was either one, they sensed these children, and then two, the parents would volunteer their children because they saw it as like a sign of honor. You know what I'm saying? To be a part of the Jedi Order, right? And I also read that if the parents said no, then that was end of it. The Jedi wouldn't force their hand or anything like that. Once the parents said no, that was it.
Yeah, they seem pretty forceful in that.
You see what I'm saying? That's so it's like it's a desecration of I think of what
they didn't want them to do it. They said no.
Yeah, they said no. Like why? Look, here's the thing.
They are allowed to take the test. That's a public law for them to take the test. This is their public planet.
Look, once they saw how old those two girls were, they would have been like, we don't want to train them anyway.
After a whole family died, I'm like, yo, like.
No, what I'm saying is it was part of their tradition. And this is one of the reasons why they didn't want to train Anakin.
Because he was too old.
Yeah, he's too old. The only reason why they were
his whole family died, right? So once you saw a whole family died, the likelihood that you turn to the dark side would be pretty high. That's like taking this at a young age.
All I'm saying is the only reason why they relented when it came to training Anakin
because Obi-Wan threatened to leave the Order.
Obi-Wan he was going to leave, and they were like, he's too valuable, we can't have him leave. That was the only reason why. The only reason why they was like, we already lost
Qui-Gon,
Dooku, we already lost Qui-Gon. You know what I'm saying? We already lost Cypher Diaz or whatever. They saw what was coming up. It was like, we can't afford to lose someone as valuable as Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's the only reason why they allowed it. So it tells you their normal habit, their normal tradition is they stick to their tradition. We don't train children who are older because they've already made certain attachments. Stupid fruit fly. So even that's a desecration. It's just like y'all she heavy-handed it. It's like, once they said no, they would have went away. It's none of their business. Now, to be fair, we don't know what else is. Maybe something with people were being manipulated. We don't know. But I don't know. Look, again, know your audience, man. You're putting a bad taste in people's mouths, man. I mean, that's the other one when people are saying maybe they should just want to release the whole thing. Because it's just too much. It's too much, man. It's too much to reconcile if you're a fan, if you're an older fan of Star Wars. It's like, nah, this is too much. This is too much. This is not what we want. This is not what we came for. But again, I don't think it's for us anymore. Yeah. That's why I say it's over, man. Because like once your core audience leaves, it's like there goes your money. you know, there goes your money. But yeah,
Anything-
the dark side has won. There's no hope left in the galaxy. It is over. It's over, man. So there's no point. There's no point even consuming the content.
No,
anymore.
no. I can't say the dark side one. I can't say the dark side one. I say the shitty side one. Because if this was the dark side, all everything on the dark side was cool. Like, okay, they had abilities that are unnatural. This shit is just terrifying. This is like,
Well, the reason why I say the dark side one is because and this is more on the I got to put on my tin hat kufi, like Alex Jones tin foil hat.
they're making this shit gay.
If
frogs
the
gay.
yeah, I know if the occult stuff is true, let me pull this back up here. You know, if the let me put it. Snap. Go back here. If the this was like a little conspiracy theory I had. If the occult stuff is true, right? You know, it could be like one of those things, like almost like it's a ritual. Like they're doing this on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, ha, we're getting money from the whole DEI BlackRock thing anyway to spread our agenda and to indoctrinate your children. You know, the ones who actually still are into Star Wars anyway. And but at the meantime, we will ruin it for you. It's almost like you know, like when the boys in the neighborhood, you go outside, you build the fort, and the girls want to come into the fort, like, nah, no girls allowed. And like and they go tattletale, like, you gotta let the girls in. And then like when you let the girls in, they start trying to dictate what happens in the boys' fort. Like, you don't dictate what happens in the boys' fort. It's like they're not happy until they piss all over the boys' toys, until they destroy the boys' toys. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's like, okay, and they're gonna feed off that energy. You know how like when you know, like your sister lie on you when you were a kid or whatever, and they get you in trouble, and they feed off of you getting in trouble, like they be laughing at you or whatever, even though they got, you know, you didn't do what they said you did. It's like that. You know, they're feeding off that energy, we know you're males, we know you're mostly heterosexual. We know you don't want this, but we're going to give it to you anyway. You're going to eat shit. You're going to eat shit and like it, or not like it. We're gonna laugh at you not liking it, you know. But you know, I could be wrong. I don't know. That's total conspiracy theory or whatever, you know. But I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't. Especially, I mean, wasn't she like the personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein? I mean, look at the circle she's running in. Yeah, would not put it past her. I mean, look at her. Just like, I shouldn't say, but like I mean, I don't know. It's just like, who would it like? It's kind of like with the one chick they're trying to get to direct the new Ray movie. It's like, I mean, just look at her. Like, obviously, she's not right for the part. I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You know, you shouldn't. But come on, man. Come on. Yeah. 70% male, man. 70% male. I know it was like 77% male dominated. And this is what we get. It's over, guys. It's over.
Actually, no. The only thing that can still save it is Visions. They didn't make a season 3 of Vision. That was the only thing they're making half decent.
I don't think I've seen the second season.
Yeah,
Have I seen the second
that's
season?
Second season. I mean, I've like, I only watched a couple episodes, but I need to finish watching that. Because, to be honest with you, that might be the only hope. Because that's what Star Wars allows people who actually enjoy Star Wars to make Star Wars. Like,
I remember I liked the first season. I heard none of his canon though.
What happened?
That's
I'm
what
sorry.
they
What
go
series?
to like a bunch of studios, right?
Little animated series called Visions.
I like the most, and then Disney sends them a budget, okay, and they fund that. That's what they start doing. They just like do almost contract where they go out to other people. They like, make a pilot, okay. If your pilot succeeds, it gets none of reviews, we will help fund your Star Wars project. Because in my opinion, that'd be way better than what they're doing right now. I mean,
Yeah.
At least it would be people who actually like Star Wars and know Star Wars and making this stuff. It's not just these random people to be hiring. How they're doing now,
Yeah.
this would be better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I heard Visions. I heard Visions wasn't canon for the second season. Is it all 3D or is it some of it's 2D?
Oh yeah, that's all 2D stuff in there.
It's all 3D.
I said there's a lot of 2D stuff in there.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
I've seen so far is 2D. I haven't seen any 3D in the first.
But the one of the little trailer thing I'm looking at right now looks 3D.
Oh yeah, that one 3D. Yeah, one of them was 3D, but I mean it was stylized enough. It was pretty good. But there's some 2D ones in here too.
Okay, yeah, I said they're showing some 2D ones. Yeah, I haven't seen.
There was like a clay stop motion kind of thing. There's like different animation styles.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second season. I remember liking the first season. But you're right. It was more interesting stuff in Visions than there was.
I know they try to innovate, and it's people that actually like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this, you get a multitude of styles. You're not going to see this one style. So you don't like one thing. Next episode, you get something different.
Yeah, you might like it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This season 3, this might be the only kind of hope Star Wars. If you like like what Star Wars is trying to do, it's like the only hope you truly have. Because these are the only people who care about the vision. The people at like Walt Disney at the top, they don't care about it, but these people do.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about Clone Wars, man. I just didn't like how it looked, man. Like I liked the 2D Clone Wars that came out in 2000. What was it 4?
Well, all these look better than the Clone Wars. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I liked how that looked more than I liked the 3D one. That 3D one just it's like, damn, all the money Lucasfilm has, that was the best they could do. It did. To be fair, it did start to look better.
And the newer seasons, they look way better, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It did start to look better as it progressed. But still, I overall didn't like the style.
Yeah, it's not the best style in the world. Like, it didn't have. It's like they tried to go for the stylistic route, but technology wasn't there when they started, right? You see how good TJ and everything's got, like Spider-Verse, everything, but that didn't exist when they tried making that, bro.
Yeah, but why not just go 2D, man? Like getting some like
Disney doesn't do. Disney does not like 2D, bro. I'm sorry.
It doesn't make any sense because they revolutionized the 2D animation.
Well, they like to spit on Walt Disney's grave.
Apparently.
They say, man, screw you, bro. Screw you, old man. You are not my friend. Like they're showing his whole legacy. That's why I told you that joke one time, bro. That man's rolling around his grave so much. That man's making all tornadoes in America right now, bro. How much they don't ruin Star Wars, bro, or just Disney in general? Like it's like, yeah.
I say George
Fellas.
What's up?
I hate to leave the podcast early, but
that's okay. We've been going on for like more than an hour, so I'm about to end it anyway.
This is my father's birthday. Rest in peace, Curtis Capers.
Yes,
he would have been 70 today.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. Rest in peace.
He would have hated Star Wars now too.
I can get something for my dad for Father's Day. I don't know what I'm gonna get him.
But hey, Carbon, we need to link up. Next week we link up for the writing session, right?
We're supposed to hook up this week.
You didn't call me.
I don't have your phone number.
You could have called me on Discord. What the hell? I already said Discord.
Well, I'll call you later tonight. We're gonna do some writing. But yeah, Star Wars is dead. Hashtag everything that Lucid Oaks is putting out. We're the future, because I don't know what the hell they got going on.
Yeah, I concur. Star Wars is dead. That's my last words on it, man.
And next week we ain't doing no trips tomorrow. I mean, next week we got to get some real work done, Brian. I'm about to say, because I really want to work on that competition or whatever.
All right,
start. So,
then come ready to work, man. Come ready to work.
We're not going no trips to meet you. We're not going no trips. no trips, bro.
Oh, and by the way, man, the T-shirt. I wore my T-shirt out to the Juneteenth thing, and people are loving it. So I told them to go to the Redbubble. So if y'all have not checked out the great artwork that we're putting out or seen any of it, redbubble.com/Lucid Oak Studios.
Yeah, or just Lucid Oak on Redbubble. Just put Lucid Oak. You can check out some of our merchandise on there. All right, guys, we'll end it here. Thanks for all those who showed up, if any, if anybody. I don't know the next time we're gonna do something like this.
Every 2 weeks, man. We every 2 weeks.
You gonna be here every 2 weeks, Demetrius?
I'll be here every 2 weeks.
Okay, so every week when you guys don't come here, you guys want to do one?
That would work.
All right. Okay. All right. We'll do that. Yeah. All right. So we'll end it here.
And 2 weeks, we didn't really do a podcast on the X-Men. I know we're gonna be late to the game, but the X-Men is how our next podcast should be. How to do something right.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about X-Men.
All
right. So thanks everyone for showing up. Thanks, Carbon. Thanks, the Almighty Matundo and
Almighty One.
sayonara.